et bienvenue à cette conférence de presse des Canadiens en compagnie du nouveau vice-président exécutif aux opérations hockey, M. Jeff Gorton. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this Montreal Canadiens press conference. Today, we are with the new EVP, Mr. Jeff Gorton. Je vais maintenant passer la parole à M. Gorton pour une déclaration. I will now pass it on to Jeff Gorton for a statement.
Thank you. Bonjour à tous. C'est avec beaucoup de fierté que j'ai accepté le rôle de vice-président des operations hockey avec les Canadiens de Montréal, la plus grande franchise dans la histoire du hockey, avec le but de ramener la Coupe Stanley à Montréal. Merci, Jeff Molson, pour ses confiances. I hope that was okay. I am learning, and be patient with me, but I will try to learn, okay? Thank you to Jeff Molson for trusting me with this opportunity. Working for the Montreal Canadiens is a dream for anybody in hockey, and is a position I will not take lightly and look forward to. And thank you for everybody for welcoming me. It's only been a couple days, but I went to Laval the other day and saw the American League team, and everybody's so welcoming, and last night at the game. So thank you to everybody. Thank you also to my family for their support in this move and always being by my side. So with that, I open it to you guys.
On va maintenant commencer la période de questions. Pour être juste envers tout le monde, on vous demande s'il vous plaît de vous limiter à une question par journaliste pour commencer. So in order to be fair with everyone, please limit yourself to one question per reporter. Martin McGuire, première question.
Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning.
Simple one to start. Why Montreal? Why this opportunity was the right fit for your career plan?
Right. Well, first of all, it's the Montreal Canadiens, number one. It's Original Six. It's the city of Montreal. It's the history here of this franchise. Excites me. With my background, it seems to be a path I've somehow found myself on with the Original Six. And once I spoke to Jeff Molson, talked about what his thoughts were about where the organization needed to go, what they were looking for. It just felt right, the right fit for me. And so here I am today.
Eric Engels.
Hey, Jeff. Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
When you spoke to Jeff Molson, he said there's a specific direction you need to go in. What is that direction? What's your vision?
Well, I'll say this. The team's obviously had a tough start to the season. You know, I recognize that, and Jeff and I in our conversation, we went through that. But you know, I think it'll evolve over time. There's obviously things that have to happen here. I would say that if you look at some of the teams I've been around and been part of, we want to be fast and skilled. We need probably to work on our player development here. I'd like to add to analytics. There's a lot of different things I'd like to do. It's my third day here, so I'd ask you to give me a little time on that, how that plays out. But I think over time you'll see, my philosophy play out.
Sorry to break the rule right away here, but you've been speaking very briefly and have asked for patience, both on learning French and you also went with the Rangers, asked for patience with the fans when you guys set off on a rebuild.
Yeah.
Is that a type of communication you feel perhaps needs to go out to this fan base, given what you saw last night at the Bell Center with the jersey getting thrown on the
Yeah. I mean, I think we want to be transparent as possible. But like I said, I want to come in here. Last night is the first time I've seen the team live. So I'm heading to Nashville today. Like to see the team some more before we make those kind of decisions. But I look forward to, spending more time with the players and the coaches and see where we're at. And then we'll go from there.
François Gagnon.
Good morning, Jeff here. Welcome to Montreal.
Yeah. Hello.
He's been patient for French, maybe not as patient for the results, but that's another story. If I would have asked you, what would be your first 5 priorities? Could you already go from 1 to 5 and tell me where you want to work the quickest? What's the first 5 things that you want to fix?
Yeah, I mean, 5 would be a lot right now. I think I really want to concentrate on being close to the team and understanding the players and the coaching staff, and also the support staff, scouting. I spend some time with the scouts. I need to do that. So there's a lot of things that go into it. As we move forward, we're going to have to, select, as a group here, we'll have to select a general manager, so that's there too. Okay.
Arpin Basu.
Oh, yeah. Hi. A couple of things you mentioned. I just was wondering if you could expand on improving player development. What does that look like to you? And adding to the analytics staff, what importance do you place on that? And how do you see that happening? Do you foresee a department in that area, or how do you see that?
Yeah, I think starting with the analytics, I would like to, I think we need to build that out better, to modernize it. I do believe in analytics, and I think that the way the game has gone, I think it's a big piece of information that you need to have, and so I would like to build out a staff that way. And player development. I think that they have a couple gentlemen in place that are doing a good job. I think that we need more. The way the game has gone, the way these kids are, they need help in a lot of ways. As soon as we draft them or sign them, so I'd like to build that out a little better too.
Alexandre Gascon.
Hi, Jeff.
Hello.
Welcome to Montreal. Jeff Molson said Monday in the ideal world, the next GM will have a skill set that will complete what you bring to the table. So what would be those criteria? What is the skill set that might be a good fit with what you bring?
Yeah, I think obviously somebody that has a real, a great knowledge of hockey, of understanding of how the business works. I think we'll look at everything. I think what we want to do as a group is we want to look at all the candidates and pick the very best based on what they have. Maybe they don't. Maybe it's a person that doesn't have a ton of experience as a general manager, but what else do they have that they can bring to the table? How else can they help us look at different scenarios? So we're going to look for somebody with maybe a little outside the box that can help us move forward and maybe complement me.
Marc Defoy et Martin Leclerc.
Yeah. Oh, hello. Talking about candidates, you already have one who made it officially that he's interested.
Yeah.
You must have heard about Patrick Roy.
I've heard of him, yes.
Yeah. So first of all, what was your reaction when you heard about it? And what do you think of a guy who, he really wants to, he really wants the job. He really wants it. He feels that he can bring something to the table.
Right.
So what is your take on that?
Well, I mean, first I have a tremendous amount of respect for him, for what he's done in hockey. So, and I know that he's always been an emotional guy and speaks his mind. So, listen, I think, like I said, I don't want to answer this every time, but I'm just getting here and getting a feel for the organization and as we move forward and talking to Jeff and figuring out how we're going to go about picking that general manager, we're going to look at everybody so that we think could be a fit. So I'm not going to rule anybody out. I'm not going to say yes or no to anybody, but certainly Patrick Roy, I heard that he made that statement. I know he's a passionate guy. I know a lot of people that know him well and I have obviously a lot of respect for somebody like that.
But if I may, would you mind to work with an emotional guy like him? You've been in Boston.
Yeah.
Okay. Cam Neely wasn't president then; he was player.
Yeah.
And some people don't like the way Patrick acts. He's very emotional. But you knew a guy who was in Boston, Cam Neely.
Right.
As a president, he's pretty emotional too. You see him on TV, and he's going to throw a bottle and slam the table and everything.
I mean, to answer that, I'm not scared of anything. I think that we want to hire the best person that can help us win, that has some ideas and can, like I said, complement, my skill set as much as possible.
Martin?
Jeff?
Yes, hello.
Yes.
with the Rangers, you worked within a structure. You had a president working with you. Is that the kind of structure that you want to replicate here? Like with you having the kind of role that John Davidson was having with you as a general manager? And when you were the general manager with the Rangers, were you in full control of the job?
Right. Well, I think the game has changed a little bit now. If you look around the league, you guys mentioned Boston and Toronto's. You see a lot of two-man, complementary systems that everybody's working in collaboration. That's I think what we're going to strive for. So listen, I've been a general manager. I believe once we hire a general manager, that general manager is going to need some authority to make some decisions. And I believe with my history and the amount of time, my experience in the game, I think I'm going to be a pretty good asset for that person. So that's one of the reasons why it attracts me to this position. As far as in New York as general manager, yes, I had authority to make decisions. The way it works a lot in hockey is you build out your staff. You want to have guys, people you trust, and you make your decision based on your inner circle. And I think every team is the same. You'd be surprised. There's not a lot of teams that are making a decision one person. So we'd like to build that tandem and make decisions as we move forward.
Guillaume Lefrançois et Stu Carlin.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
So from your time in Boston and New York, what emphasis would you put on local players from the area, and what's your read on the importance that this has here in this market?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously this is a unique market, and I certainly understand the need for to look at local players, and if you look at my history in Boston, we've always had guys locally. In New York, we're lucky to get Adam Fox. He's from there, so it's something that I definitely think is important, and in this market for sure, I understand the importance.
Stu?
Jeff, welcome to Montreal. Congratulations. You grew up in Massachusetts, I imagine, as a Bruins fan. And correct me if you're.
That's correct. Yeah.
What do the Canadiens as a franchise mean to you? Maybe what's your earliest memory of the Canadiens? And going back to your childhood, in a way, does it seem a little strange maybe sitting here today with the Canadiens pin on your car?
Yes and yes. Being from Boston, of course, the Canadiens broke my heart a lot of times. That's my first memories. Like 1979 probably sticks out as the first one where, things were thrown in my house, with the too many men on the ice. So I go back, as far as coming into the game and traveling and being a part of the Bruins organization, coming up here and seeing all the great players around and the history and just everything that coming to the game in Montreal was special, and you could feel that right away, and who wouldn't want to be a part of that? So,
Marc-André Perrault.
Did I miss
a third part? I squeeze in a quick. I was going to say, what's your best quality as a hockey executive?
Well, I think probably knowing people and players. I think that's probably it. I think that I have a good feel for players, and I have a good feel for people.
Marc-André Perrault et Jonathan Bernier.
Hi, Mr. Gorton.
Yeah, hello.
I just want to be specific on one thing before. Did you say that you will actually talk to Patrick Roy?
I said I will. Listen, we're gonna. I haven't. I do not have a group yet that we have chosen to talk to. Jeff Molson and I will talk more as we go along about the group, and then we'll go from there. But I don't want to commit to anybody. I don't want to say no to anybody. So people can keep calling me if they like. Okay. Yeah. It's okay.
You were here last night. You saw that jersey thrown on the ice, and it's a passionate market. If you could speak directly to the fans, what would be the message to them right now?
Well, listen, you never want to see that happen. I think it's obviously disappointing to see someone throw their jersey on the ice, but something that's out of our control. My first concern and my thought is to the players, and people that are out there trying their hardest, and it's a tough thing to see. So I would say anything that is not going to help the situation, but again, we can't control it. So as far as where the team's at, obviously it's been a difficult time, right? We all can see that. Anybody in hockey can see that it's almost been a perfect storm against Montreal with all the injuries and everything that's gone bad, and now you have COVID, and it just seems like it's adding up on them. It hasn't started off great. I would say that if walking into this building, you can tell that the energy is a little down, the attitude is a little bit it hasn't gone great, and you can feel that when you walk in the building. So I hope that I can bring some energy and some positive way of thinking that we can turn this around and move forward. So that's one of my short-term goals is to try to talk to all these players and understand what's going on, and so we can move forward. But listen, they've won 6 games in 25, so I understand the frustration. But the players are feeling it. I can tell you that just from being here for 2 days.
Jonathan?
Yeah. Hello, welcome to Montreal. I still like to understand the organizational chart of this team with you and the GM. You said you're going to be involved in the GM selection. So are you going to be his boss?
Yeah, so like I said, I've been a general manager, and for me, I think it was important when I met with Jeff Molson that the general manager has a direct line to Jeff Molson that can make decisions. My role is to use all my experience to help that person and to help make this team better again and start winning. And that's how I look at it. Anybody that knows me, I don't have a huge ego. I'm not worried about titles. I've never been worried about that. I just want to help. I want to be a hockey decision guy, and I think I can really help this team move forward.
Let's say in 3 or 4 years things don't go well.
Yeah.
Will you have the power to fire the GM, or it's going to be Jeff Molson decision?
Yeah, well, I've never been really, I don't think I've been in an organization where you made a decision like that wasn't at the ownership level too, right? So, for sure, listen, I'm not going to think about if it goes bad. I'm going to think about how it's going to go good. Okay, so we'll go that way.
John Lou.
5-year contract?
Well, it's a multi-year deal. I'll say that. That's all I'll say.
John.
Okay.
Hi, Jeff, over here.
Welcome
to Montreal. Congratulations on it. Can you just describe the process that you went through that led to the decision to start a rebuild in New York, and how it was communicated, and how you might apply that to Montreal should you come to that conclusion once you've made a full assessment of the state of the organization?
Yeah. It got to the point in New York where we had some really good teams, and we made it to the finals. We went to some conference finals, but based on where we were at, and our team was good but not great, we had internal meetings and decided that was the way to go, and that was right to the ownership level, and we decided that it was the right thing to do to tell our fans exactly what we're going to do. And basically we wrote the letter, and the rest is a little bit of a history that we traded a lot of players, a lot of good players away, and here it is. I guess 3 or 4 years since the letter. So the rest, I guess you could probably figure out. But that was the process. We met, we discussed it, we decided to do it, and we were pretty open and transparent with the fans. So as far as bringing it here, if that's what we decide, we'll be pretty transparent. Yeah.
Pat Hickey.
Just wondering, just on the organizational chart.
Yep.
You're the executive vice president, the general manager. Jeff Molson says the general manager is going to make the decisions.
Yeah.
You have 6 or 7 years experience as a general manager in both Boston and New York. You're going to have someone working with you who has no experience at all as a general manager. What happens if there's a disconnect between the way you're thinking and the general manager thinks?
Yeah, well, listen, I would encourage somebody with different views, and I would go in wide-eyed to understand that person might think differently, and that's better. I think that everyone doesn't agree with Jeff Gorton. So I think when we are out in that search, we're going to look for somebody that has different views, that has a different background, that can complement me. So listen, anyone that's ever been in a hockey room has had some FU fights with people about what to do. And at the end of the day, you make the right decisions as a group, and you move forward and you live by those decisions. So it's not going to be any different.
Marc-Antoine Godin.
The individual makes the wrong decision.
Well, I mean, let's hope that doesn't happen, right? Again, this is my press conference. I'm just getting here. I'm thinking positively that we're going to make good decisions and we're going to move this team in the right direction. So we'll let you guys decide if it's a good decision or not.
Marc-Antoine Godin et François-David Rouleau.
Hello, Jeff. Hi. I'm sure the final assessment still needs to be done, but you've had discussions with Jeff leading to today.
So when you look at the overall team, with a team that has more 3+ year contracts that are in the books than any other team in the league, and where the team is in the standings, what's your general view of how to unclog that and trying to make this more of a flexible roster and a roster that can be improved? Because it seems as though, in terms of salaries, the team's just tied right now.
Yeah. No, I think that I think as we move forward, there's definitely going to have to, we're going to have to look at everything, and there's definitely contracts that are long term that we'll have to look at and discuss and figure out who's going to be here and who's going to be part of that going forward. Who those players are, like I said, tomorrow will be my second game with the team, so I still want to get a real feel for this team and moving forward, and the players, their personalities before we decide what's going to really happen. Okay.
François David.
But I understand what you're saying about the cap. Yeah.
Good morning, Jeff. We have you. Nice effort in your opening lines. To clear the question, will try to learn French. What does that mean? Is it to learn a few words or learn through the language?
Well, I mean, I would like to. I would like to be as good as I can. I'm gonna. My wife has bought me some lessons online that I'm starting, so I will do the best I can. That would be my pledge to you. I can't say that I will speak the language fluent because I don't know how good. 30 years ago, I wanted to be great at golf, and I still stink, right? So I will do my best. I will pledge that to you. I've been working hard on what I said today, and I had to read it, but I think I did okay. Hopefully, I can move forward and build off that. Okay.
On va prendre 4 dernières questions. We'll take 4 more. We'll go with Patrick Friolet, Alexis Bélanger-Champagne, Éric Leblanc et Claude Guillet.
Mr. Gorton, welcome to Montreal. You insisted on the fact that you want a GM that's going to be able to complement you. Considering your strengths as a hockey businessman, what do you feel would be the best skills to complete you as a team?
That's a great question. I think I really want to, we want to focus on finding somebody that has just a different outlook on it. So listen, I've been in hockey my whole life. Maybe it could be an agent. It could be it could be somebody that was just a player. It could be somebody, but somebody different than me. I wasn't a player. I wasn't an agent. It could be just a different background. So we're going to look at those things. I've read some of the names. I've heard some of the names. I've had some calls. But I want to reserve. We want to reserve judgment on that until we have a little more time to figure out who might be out there, and then we will find the best person. Okay.
Alexis.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
Montreal. You talked a little bit about player development earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Molson, in his press conference on Monday, mentioned the 45 draft picks over the last 3 years, a ton of prospects coming in. What's your philosophy regarding that? You mentioned just adding more stats, but what are you looking for in player development? What's the kind of things you want to offer to those prospects to help them grow?
Yeah, no, I think that help them through, I think once we take them, it's important to be in contact with them. It's important to talk to them every day about their game and how they can get better and nutrition and anything we can offer them, the communication. Really, from the moment we draft them until they reach the NHL, I think we can do a better job. Every team can really do a better job of working with these kids and bringing them and turning them into men and eventually good pros. So it's really just the day-to-day contact and keep those relationships, because these listen, it's a high pressure game. There's a lot that goes into this for these players, and we want to help them as much as we can get there as soon as they can, but I think that we could do a better job of supporting them and adding to that and having the right people in place for that.
Éric Leblanc.
Hi, Jeff. Nice to meet you. Since you got hired, you've been able to talk to a few people in the NHL, and their opinion is that because the experience that you have, the GM that you will hire will only have a small word to say on every decision. What is your reaction?
Yeah, I would say no. I would say that we're going to bring a general manager that's going to have a say, and it's going to be the general manager. And being a general manager, I would not want to be a general manager unless I had the power of a general manager. So that would be my answer in the short to that.
Claude Guillet.
Hi, welcome. Knowing that you wanted a GM that might be outside of the box, you said might not have a ton of experience. You being a GM yourself, how can we expect that? Will you be the one still in touch with the other GM, considering that the next one might not have your type of experience? Will you still be in contact? How will those negotiations or any contact with other teams, will you still be involved?
Yeah. My answer to that is the general manager we hire is going to talk to general managers around the league. That's part of the job. So for me, I would say that once we find somebody in place, my role, and for now, that's what I am doing, talking to general managers and holding down that. But as we go forward, we're going to empower the general manager to talk to GMs and try and make deals and whatever it is. But listen, I think they're bringing me here for a reason, to help, right, and use my experience and help that person. So I'm confident that we could find the right person. We can work in tandem, and we can move this thing in the right direction.
We'll take a follow-up from François Gagnon.
Just a quick one, Jeff, to finish, please. Going on a time frame base here and going instead of over/under, I'll go before or after Christmas.
Okay.
A GM before or after Christmas.
Well, I would say, based on what day is it? It's been a crazy week. So, we're in December. Okay. I would say if you give me the over and under, I'm going to say after Christmas. Okay. I think that that's to be determined. I wouldn't want to give you a date yet.
And finally, is your coach safe for the entire season?
Yes.